Did you know that men are also at risk of breast cancer? And when a man actually does develop breast cancer, his risk of dying is actually much higher than a woman who also develops breast cancer. Now, this is some serious information and you need to be aware of it so that you can protect yourself, or at least discover it early enough for intervention to be started so you don't die from breast cancer. Man, you are also at risk, so pay attention. In this video, we are going to talk about 4 reasons why men are more likely to die from breast cancer than women would. Stay tuned. Alright guys, as you already know, I'm Dr. Kelvin and I'm your wellness consultant, which means your health is my topmost priority. And as I said in the beginning, this video is very important. It's about breast cancer. We are in October, so it's all about breast. We need to make sure that we prioritize things that concern our breast, so that if there's any problem, we discover it early, deal with it quickly, so that we can improve our chances of survival. So men also have a risk of developing breast cancer, although the risk is not as significant as women do, because for obvious reasons, men do not have as big a breast as women do. And so that means that the risk of developing breast cancer is not as high. More volume means higher risk, so women have a higher risk of developing breast cancer. But in that same regard, because of our smaller volume, our risk of dying from breast cancer is very high. And so I'm going to talk about 4 reasons why this is so, starting with number 1, which I've already broached, is that we don't have a big enough breast. And so because the breast is so small, there's not enough room for the cancer to grow. So once cancer develops in this small volume breast, the risk of spreading to the chest wall or other parts of the body is very significant. Whereas the woman's breast has a lot of room and the cancer can stay there for a couple of weeks, men don't have that luxury. And so once cancer is diagnosed, the treatment tends to be a bit more aggressive, because we all know that the risk of death is very high. So men need to examine their breast as well. The second reason why men have a higher risk of dying from breast cancer is because of the very low awareness. A lot of men don't realize that they also have risk of breast cancer, and so most men have their diagnosis of breast cancer very late. First of all, most men don't notice that there's anything going on in the breast, because it looks like a lot of attention has been placed on women and women's breasts. So in October, you hear a lot about women's free breast exam here and there, and because a lot of women are making themselves available, the men are kind of shy. They don't want to go to also get their breast examined. But you really do need to do same, and the self-examination that women do, well, men also need to do the same thing. So make sure you're examining your breast, because like I said, if cancer is diagnosed in men, it tends to be a bit late because of the low awareness, and because of that, it probably has spread already at the time of diagnosis. We want to prevent that as much as possible. So men also need to do the self-examination as often as possible, so that we can pick up any lesions earlier. Number 3, because the risk of development of cancer is very low amongst men because of what I mentioned earlier, smaller breast volume, it means that if a man does develop breast cancer, it probably is an aggressive form of breast cancer anyway, and that's why it was able to develop in a male. So those cancers that develop in men tend to have hormone receptors and are also HER2 negative, which means that, in simple language, these are aggressive tumors. And so if a man develops breast cancer, we need to attack it as quickly as possible, as aggressively as possible, because if it's an aggressive cancer in a very limited space, the risk of spread very high. And finally, and sadly, because a lot of attention has been given to women when it comes to breast cancer, a lot of the treatment modalities available are targeted at women. So we hardly have protocols that are geared towards men. And so sometimes in certain facilities, when a man is diagnosed as having breast cancer, even the medics tend to be confused. So late diagnosis and poor treatment modalities results in negative outcome. But all these can be prevented if the cancer is detected early, as it is even in women. Early detection leads to an earlier intervention and a high probability of survival. So don't risk it, my man. Go get yourself evaluated, especially this month of October, as it has been dedicated to breast cancer, so that if there's anything happening, we can be picked up. As a bonus, if you do have a family history of breast cancer, whether in your mom or a sister, i.e. a first degree relative, you need to pay close attention. And if you're a woman and you happen to be watching this, if your father or your brother does develop breast cancer, your risk of developing breast cancer is even higher than the general population, because it tells that your family has a high risk of aggressive breast cancer. You need to be mindful of your breast as well, even as a woman. So if this video has been beneficial to you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, And most importantly, don't forget to share this with your network as well, so that we can all learn a thing or two about our health. I am indeed your wellness consultant, and you are welcome to stay right here on this channel. Stay blessed. Signing out.